1984, Freddy Krueger spawned in cinema. Wes Craven had struggled to put this film out for at least 3 to 4 years before Robert Shaye finally picked it up. And who would have thought that Freddy Krueger would have made his name on the Mount Rushmore of horror? He has since been slashing his way through our hearts for the last 40 years. When A Nightmare on Elm Street debuted, Wes Craven had no choice but to have a heavy hitter. Horror had already spawned iconic names like Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise, Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. It was somewhere right there in the middle between those big three plus Freddy, but right before the other big names hit the screen like Ghostface from Scream, Chucky from Child's Play, Pinhead from the Hellraiser series. To this day, no matter what generation you are, you probably know who Freddy Krueger is. Hi, welcome to Lost Laser TV, and I'm Ray, and I'm here to announce that we are starting a brand new series called Kill Ranking. And first up, we are doing the Nightmare on Elm Street series. We will be doing every film in the franchise, and I am super excited about it. Now, this won't be a collage video. We will do this film by film by film by film until we have done them all. We will be ranking the kills from our favorite to our least favorite. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. The first entry into the franchise of Nightmare on Elm Street consists of 4 victims. Number 1 being Tina Gray, number 2 being Rod Lane, number 3 Glenn Lantz, and number 4 Nancy's mother, Marge. The iconic opening of the film, we see Tina Gray being silently stalked by Freddy Krueger. She then wakes up noticing slashes on her nightgown. This is the first pivotal part to understanding what is the real world and what is the dream world and how they intertwine with each other. The logic is pretty simple. You take damage in the dream world of Freddy Krueger, you sustain the damage in real life. However, the ending of this movie really blurs the lines of the rules of the dream realm. Despite Tina's silent cries for help from her friends, it is then revealed that every one of her friends has been experiencing nightmares of Freddy Krueger. When they all 4 collectively stay at Tina's house, Tina falls asleep once again just to be tortured by Freddy Krueger. However, this time, she'll never wake up again. Rod is awakened by her screams as Tina is being gutted, flown around the room, suspended up in the air, levitating, until she is just totally disemboweled. And this is my number 1 kill of the movie. Not only do I think it's the most visually pleasing, I also think it's the most excruciating pain that you can probably go throughout all of these victims. Coming in at number 2 on my ranking is Glenn's death. Glenn's character, played by young Johnny Depp, we really don't get a lot of insights of where Glenn stands when it comes to his involvement with Freddy. I guess it can be confirmed and implied that he has had dreams about Freddy. I think that's a given. Other than Nancy's cry for help and Glenn staying by her side, even to go as far to keeping an eye on her while she sleeps, Glenn comes across as a good, well-mannered guy. But at the end of the day, he's just trying to get some The reason Glenn's death is above the other 2, probably the most iconic of this particular film, it is just the sheer shock value in my mind if I was Glenn. Because Glenn never shares screen time with Freddy Krueger until the kill happens. There is no build up to this. He's just falling asleep in bed and he is grabbed in his fucking bed and drugged down by Freddy. And what is so cool about this death here is that it's really up to your imagination, because once he goes down, we don't know what happens. We just see 500 gallons of blood just burst into the sky. And that's what I mean when I say Glenn's death is probably the most mysterious when it comes to his involvement with Freddy. We don't know how many nightmares Glenn has had. We don't know how much experience he's had with Freddy himself. And if I was in Glenn's shoes and I was just watching TV, listening to music, and I just suddenly dozed off, and in a blink of an eye I was gone, I think it's really interesting because, and everybody should know, Freddy loves playing with his food, right? He loves the cat and mouse game. He loves the fear. He feeds off of it. So I thought it was a real interesting choice when Glenn just went like that. But again, that could possibly be because we simply don't know how much of his past revolves around Freddy. Okay, coming in at my number 3, it is Rod. Rod comes in at my number 3 is because of the build-up. Seeing your girlfriend just absolutely fucking butchered in bed after you got some and then him being blamed for Tina's murder, I feel like that would mentally take a toll on you that I couldn't possibly fathom in my fucking mind. But to finally get caught and go to jail, and you know something supernatural is happening, and you know that Nancy and Glenn believe you that you actually did not do this, and they're the only ones in your corner, to have to sit there in that cell and wonder what the fuck happened. Is there something supernatural going on? How can I avoid this happening to me? And how do I make things right? And how do I prove myself innocent? Now, I think Rod's standpoint on this is a little bit different than everybody else's, because in the film, Rod doesn't really share the Freddy experience. You know, he's not really talking about the trauma. Rod's stance on it is like, "Ah, you fucking pussies." He doesn't actually say that, but you catch my drift. Now, when it comes to the actual kill, him just dozing off in bed, getting hung by this invisible fucking entity, has to be fucking truly terrifying. Because we don't know if he saw Freddy, you know, because in Nancy's dream, Freddy was there. But when we fast forward to real time, he's not there. So is he dreaming? Is he awake? The more this first Nightmare on Elm Street movie plays out, the more it kind of blurs the lines between the rules of the dream realm versus reality. And me personally, I don't think that's a con. I think it's a good tactic to keep the fans guessing. And last but not least, my least favorite kill of this movie is Marge, Nancy's mother. This death in itself is so up in the air that it's really not even funny. The ending of Nightmare on Elm Street is so ambiguous that we don't know if she died at that point where we see Freddy standing over her, stabbing her while he's on fire in the bedroom, and Nancy and her father come save the day. Or could it be that that was Nancy's dream and we're in Marge's dream at the end and she gets killed there? There is no really definitive way to decide this. And just to up this argument and up the mystery about her death even further, when Heather Langenkamp plays Nancy again in part 3, she states that her mother died in her sleep. And that could be a cover up just to not talk about the gruesome nature of her death. But there are so many options that it's just almost impossible to pinpoint which one she actually died from. But despite all that, I just think visually, if it is the window kill, it's just like, fuck that blow up doll. Or if we go with the first option, where Freddy is smothering her and stabbing her while he's on fire and she burns to death, visually that was pretty cool. And you can clearly tell that's not Marge. But in the scenario this is Marge, she was probably too fucked up on vodka to even register what's going on. So I'm sure she's gonna be fine in the afterlife. Fuck it. I think they could have did more with Marge's death. But I kind of like it because even 40 years later, this ending is talked about. We're introduced to Freddy way early in the movie. We see Tina get killed. The film then switches to Nancy, which is our main final girl now. And we get to build upon her character and her friend's character, and we get to follow her in this terrifying scenario that if I fall asleep, I'm gonna die. And of course nobody believes you. Throughout this whole series, I didn't mention any of Freddy's death in this, simply because Freddy himself has already done a video explaining his death in these films. Now I can't explain it any better than the guy that was actually there. So if you guys want to, please check out this video. I'm sure you're gonna love it. But the ending of this movie, we know that Freddy may be defeated, but he's not necessarily dead. Once Marge dies and Nancy turns her back on Freddy, taking away all the fear, all the energy from him, he is then just evaporated. Now I'm assuming he's gone back to his state of purgatory or dream realm, even though I think Nancy's already in the dream. You see the confusing lines here? It can be really frustrating trying to explain, but it's so fun trying to understand it. But yeah guys, that is my kill ranking for Nightmare on Elm Street 1. Let me know if you agree, let me know if you disagree. Where do you rank these 4 deaths at? If you have a theory about the ending, which I'm sure everybody does, drop it down below. Drop some knowledge on your boy. But that's gonna wrap this video up, guys. Thank you so much for taking part of your day to kick with me. I really do appreciate it. I love each and every one of you. And until next time, adios.